Hi guys, welcome back to yet another episode of Eat Right with Yogesh Dixit. So lately I've been getting a number of questions on sugar, like what is the safe amount to be consumed, what is the best form of sugar to be consumed, and so on and so forth. So I'm planning to do a series of videos to cover this topic of sugar, and there are in the process, like there are a number of misconceptions, doubts that most of you have. I'll try and clarify those, right? So before we start, I just wanted to highlight that nutrition of food cannot be looked in an isolation. It is always in conjunction with human anatomy, human physiology, and essentially the exercise science. So for instance, a healthy human body contains around 206 bones, 40 trillion cells. It has around 100,000 miles of blood vessels and 5 to 6 liters of blood. Okay, so now any guesses in terms of how much of blood glucose this 5 to 6 liters of blood would have? Well, so many may not be able to guess this correctly. Same thing happened with me, so don't worry about it. So healthy human body having 5 to 6 liters of blood essentially has supposed to be having 100 mg per dl of blood glucose, which equates to 5 grams of sugar, and which essentially is just 1 teaspoon of sugar. So what happens when this particular level, a standard level, stays elevated, it goes beyond and stays elevated for a longer duration? It can lead to a condition, a situation called as insulin resistivity, and insulin resistivity in turn can lead to multiple other disorders ranging from obesity to diabetes to hypertension to thyroid to PCOD to elevated triglycerides, right? So now when we have understood that the insulin resistivity is the number one threat or enemy of the human being, and the person who's gotten affected with insulin resistivity can come across number of these disorders, and there are almost no cure that is available to basically rectify these disorders. I mean, the person who's affected would need to be consuming the particular medication for his entire lifetime, and the doses just go on increasing as the person ages, right? So what needs to be done to essentially restrict or avoid getting into a situation of being insulin resistive? So the number one reason for a person to become insulin resistive is elevated blood glucose levels. And why the blood glucose levels stay elevated is because of higher amount of consumption of carbohydrate as a macronutrient. And there is a wide variety of food items which is available under carbohydrates, ranging from different kinds of grains, fruits, vegetable, milk, and the number of different sugars which are available in the market, ranging from a table sugar, a jaggery, honey, rock sugar, and so on and so forth. So when a person consumes a very high amount of carbohydrates, it gets converted into blood glucose very quickly, because most of these are either refined or processed carbs as such, and it doesn't take any time for our digestive system to break it down further and then get it converted to something else. It is like a ready-made recipe available to be getting converted to blood glucose, and essentially it will lead to spiking of glucose levels and leading to insulin resistivity. But does that mean only carbohydrates lead to creation of glucose in the body? No, not really. I mean, if one exceeds the amount of protein and fat in his or her diet, that can also lead to creation of glucose through some other metabolic pathways, and we'll definitely take a look at it sometime later. So should we be dropping carbohydrates from our diet completely? No, absolutely not. Vegetables is definitely the best bet that is available within the carbohydrate group, barring the potato. But all the other carbohydrates are to be looked upon very, very carefully, and either to be avoided or to be consumed in a very moderate way. The best way, the safest way to consume carbohydrates is essentially to have it in either a raw or a whole grain kind of a form, than to have very refined or processed forms of carbohydrates. So what we'll do is, like, we'll cover most of the other aspects associated with sugar in the subsequent videos. Till then, stay well. Thank you. Thanks for watching.